Hello, welcome to another episode of Constitutionalist Podcast. I am your host, Joseph M. Leonard. That's Lenard. It looks French. It's not. It's Leonard without an O. Thank you for tuning in. As Graham Norton used to say on his show, let's get on with the show. Hello, Joseph M. Leonard with Constitutionalist Politics Podcast. Odd show today. You could see Paul Jordan on with me from the Paul Jordan Business Breakthrough Podcast. We're kind of doing a joint podcast here, so it will be rather interesting. And that's my lead in. Let me hand it over to Paul so he can give a brief intro from his perspective.
Lucy, hi. Well, thank you for being here with me today. It's good to see you. I love that we're thousands of miles apart, but we're right here together on Zoom. The technology always impresses me.
Yes, it is amazing. I like Zoom. I like to cheat and use Zoom to record for my show. Yeah, there's all kinds of. We were talking before we hit record, we both have IT background, me in the US, him in England. And what was I going to say? Oh, there's all kinds of like podcast studios like Restream and StreamYard. And there's a billion different studio products that allow you to do this. But I just prefer to use Zoom.
I have to say, I agree, because I've got Squadcast and I've tried it and it had all sorts of problems with echo and lag. Didn't like it at all. And it's supposed to be especially for podcasts, but Zoom, robust, solid, always works. Much better, I think. Exactly.
You get what you need out of Zoom. And then I usually take the recording and run it through NCH Suite, Video Pad Editor to add additional effects like scrolls, like when I show it on my side on the behind the scenes video channels. I'm on 5 video channels, but 25 plus audio channels. So behind the scenes, there'll be the scroll with your name on it to let people know for sure, in case if they don't see the small print in the bottom corner of the window there. But
is my audio good, by the way? Because I forgot to check my microphone, make sure I've got the right microphone. Let me just have a look.
No, it's good. I'm hearing you fine and you're hearing me fine. I use a Razer gamer headset, which I find works pretty good. Okay. I don't have a couple $1,000 expensive, ridiculous condenser mic.
I've got various microphones. I just wanted to make sure I'd had the right ones selected, but I have. I've got this. This is my Blue Yeti here. This one here.
Yeah. See, you've got a nice, expensive microphone. Yeah. I just
reasonable.
Oh, okay. What did that cost you?
Oh, I got it on offer. I think it was about 90 UK pounds, which is probably what, $120, something like that.
That's actually less, but you have to have a mixer to go through, right? Whereas my headset plugs directly USB port into my laptop. So I actually paid more. This is a $250 headset.
Oh, wow. My microphone is USB straight into my computer.
Is it? Good, yeah. Good. Yeah, that's. I have a book. You can see 3 of my books on the screen here. Terror Strikes Coming Soon to a City Near You. Constitutionalist Politics 1. There's also part 2. How to Write a Book and Get It Published, Hints, Tips, and Techniques. What you don't see is the book that I just wrote. We were talking before we hit record. The Book of Kennedy. I'm having trouble getting on Apple books, but it's on Kindle. It's on the print version will be available on Amazon start by the time people hear this, as well as Barnes and Noble Nook. But I also have Podcasting Quick Start Guide where I talk about these things, right? Like, start off with an inexpensive mic. Don't be pouring $10,000 in, this green screen isn't really a green screen. It's just green material I bought at Michael's, a craft store that I then, illuminate images upon, which I've already changed the image once. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and change the background again to, and the phone's ringing if you can hear it. Why are people bothering me right now? I should have unplugged the phone. Never fails. The phone won't ring until I hit record on a show, right? But at any rate, podcasting quick start guide to tell people, you could start off low cost and low key and work your way up. Don't spend tens of thousands of dollars till you find you're going to be good at what you do. Now, we've talked enough about me so far. What about the Paul Jordan Business Breakthrough podcast? When did I started mine in 2023? When did you start yours? How long you been going? And
that's a good question. So the podcast, I first dabbled. I kind of played around last year, probably be about a year ago, and I set up a free Buzzsprout account because with Buzzsprout,
that's who I use.
It's great to get started because it's free, but after 30 days they delete the episodes, don't they?
Yeah. So I do have the lower end paid version of Buzzsprout. So yeah, all my episodes will be eternally available. I do recommend the low end cost Buzzsprout. Yeah. But to start, you can start for free.
Well, that's what I did last year, but this year I've gone all in and I've got a proper paid account. But it's interesting because I've spoken to so many people, and the term podcast, I mean, you and I probably know that back in the day, a podcast was an MP3 file that you downloaded on a USB cable to an Apple iPod, a little Apple iPod with a wheel or something. But now an iPod, now the term podcast means nothing because you don't download it. It can be a live stream, it can be a YouTube video, it can be a Spotify, it can be what we're doing now. So podcast is a very vague term. What does it really mean?
Yeah, absolutely. And there used to be shock jocks. I invented the term shockcaster. I also co-host with Savage Unfiltered. That's who was reaching out to me trying to record at the same time. I told you 3:00 I could be with you. Not now. We're recording now. Cool. But I invented the term shockcaster, and my show is kind of a G. Constitutionalist Politics is a G-rated show, so I don't really use the term. But Savage Unfiltered, where we get rowdy and raucous and indeed, nasty at times even. Yeah, so he uses the term shockcaster, and in fact released a book called Shockcaster by the name, talking about his evolution and then me coming onto the show and inventing the term, right? Because it's like a shock jock, now it's a shockcaster. But as you said, podcasting is kind of this big blob bucket beyond what it originally was. And with us both having an IT background, we're familiar MP3 audio files. There's all kinds of audio files now. Most podcasts behind the scenes are MP3s.
I think that's what Buzzsprout uses, isn't it? But now, of course, and again, podcast tradition was just audio, whereas now a podcast is video as well, isn't it? Like this,
Right. Like I said, I use BitChute, Brighteon, Dailymotion out of France, Rumble, and YouTube to present my behind the scenes videos, I call them. Okay. But indeed, my podcast is primarily carried, like most, on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Player, 25 plus audio platforms. You're through Buzzsprout too. So I take it with what's called behind the scenes here, RSS feeds. You can put your RSS link out on Spotify and others so that the Buzzsprout recording you put up is carried on. Do you know how many platforms yours is carried on right now?
I think I'm trying to think. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I know there's a screen where you set it all up, and I think I've got a couple of channels pending because I've like submitted the request. But yeah, Spotify, I think Apple iTunes, I think is on there. Where else?
Probably
Spotify,
Amazon, Audible,
Amazon. Yeah, that's it.
Google.
I think it's about
Yeah,
8 or 9 that are on there,
yeah,
which is syndicated out there to all these places. But what I found, it's very good for SEO because it's like having backlinks. So when people do a search for you, they find you in all these different places. So it makes you look,
yes.
gives you exposure, which is very
It
powerful, you know?
gives you a presence, yes. Like the big ones, it changes, of course. People get fickled and go different places, but the big ones are still Spotify, iHeartRadio, Player FM. There's a billion different, smaller, like Podbean, Podcaster, Pod this, Pod that, Pod the other thing. But yeah, why would we limit ourselves, right? We want to be on
Yeah,
all of them, yes?
absolutely. And if they can be published there automatically, so much the better. As long as we don't have to do it manually, because that would be very time consuming.
Yes, that would be a real pain in the hindsight. Yes. So go ahead. What were you going to say?
I was going to say, and the original style of podcast was great for driving, but the new style podcast with visual doesn't play well when you're driving the car because it's quite a distraction. You're trying to watch and drive. That's not so good, but you can still just turn the screen off and listen to the audio.
Yeah, well, it's definitely why you want to be mostly to be honest, Daily Motion in France, next to no viewers, next to none. My biggest video platform is BitChute, not YouTube or Rumble, but BitChute. But you want to be present a lot of places for anyone to find you based on their preference, their choice. But yeah, you've still got to record for audio only. I've got a couple shows. My two prominent shows are science related, of all things. I'm going to flip my background again to my show background. If I can get to it here real quick. Okay, come on, cooperate. Where'd you go? All right, this will do. That's not the background I was looking for, but yeah, Constitutionalist podcast, right? Christian based and U.S. backed politics, the Constitution. But my two favorite or most listened and viewed shows are science shows. One is Flat Earth Dave talking, is the Earth flat or a sphere? That's my most popular show. It's not like he's exclusive only to my show, but for some reason, that's the one that gets the most hits of mine. My second biggest hits show is What Color is the Sky Really? And if you pair it blue, you're not a thinker, because is it blue at night? No, it's not. The sky is actually opaque. It is reflective of the water of the earth. Sometimes it looks green, sometimes it looks orange due to sun spots and whatnot. Some at night it looks black. If you're on Mars, you look up, it would look red. So the color of the sky is not blue, it's opaque, and we see things reflected. And I use that as an analogy and a metaphor to set up political questions of people who aren't thinkers, right? They're emotional, hysterical snowflakes, as the term is nowadays, right? They don't think anything through. What color's the sky? Blue. No, you don't think. You accept crap people hand you and you parrot it. Yeah.
I think people are, I'm not judgmental, but there are, I think in every country, there are some people that are just they're a bit like sheep. They just accept what they're given. They don't challenge it. They don't find out for themselves. They just believe what they're told rather than go out and do some research and verify it.
They want to coast through life, try to find the path of least resistance.
Yes.
Yeah. exactly. And
But
in
sorry,
terms of biblical, for the biblical aspect of my show, the unwilling versus the unable to know, right? We are all ignorant of things we yet to learn, right?
don't know.
There's a
Yeah.
difference between being ignorant and just not knowing because you haven't learned yet, and being stupid and delusional and not wanting to know. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Yes, I hear you. As you say, it's a case. Sometimes we don't know what we don't know, but we can acknowledge that. We can acknowledge it and act accordingly. But some people don't. They don't even know what they don't know, but they don't even realize it. They don't
Right.
acknowledge that there's stuff they don't even
They
know about.
either don't realize it or they, right, like the saying, if you can't baffle them with brilliance, dazzle them with bullshit. Right? As
Yes.
the saying goes, right? They know they don't know, but yet they're going to pretend they do and hope they can fool people. It's just
Yeah.
insane. But anyway, you have a business show. So what are your usual business related topics?
Well, I usually talk to a lot of coaches because they're in the business of coaching other people, which is always very interesting because I have a variety of different coaches, life coaches, business coaches. I've got an interview booked in August with a lady who's an ADHD coach because I've got a bit of ADHD. Um,
I deal with that myself. Yes.
Welcome to the club.
Yeah. Not a
Is it?
fun club always, right? I
No.
always joke. Normally, when I'm talking to somebody about a show, uh, uh, they'll say something like, I forget who I had on the other day. The show hasn't aired yet. He mentioned his song, or his song. He mentioned his wife, Beth. So I said, oh, thanks. Now my ADHD OCD brain is going to have that Kiss, Beth, I hear you calling song in my head the rest of the day, right? The intrusive OCD thoughts that come in and just won't go away, right?
I know the feeling very well. It's kind of, I think for me, the way I describe my ADHD is it's like a pinball machine where the silver ball is my attention, but it's bouncing from thought to thought. Here's a thought, here's a thought, here's a thought, here's a thought. And it's just going all over the place. And I can't control it. It's like this. But sometimes it can be hyper focused. But I just get so distracted. Sometimes I get to the end of the day and I think, what did I start my day doing? And how did I get to this point here? And what happened in between? Because I didn't stay on the task I wanted to stay on. And I drive myself nuts. I get very frustrated.
Yeah, and I take it your brain, like mine too, is you have trouble getting to sleep at night because your brain won't shut off.
Well, I get to sleep well, but when I wake up, if I wake up, that's it. It's ding, 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 like a buzzing bee. Oh, and I can't get back to sleep. Yeah, if I wake
Yeah.
up, that's it. The game over.
And you mentioned life coaches. That's why I switched. I'm going to toggle my camera so that the main background shows. The Book of Kennedy is my most latest book that just came out that I'm having trouble getting on Apple Nook or Apple Books. Barnes and Noble Nook, I had no trouble getting it on. But yeah, the Book of Kennedy is a life book, not a life coach book about but life and living, and this imperfect world we're living in, and trying to be optimistic while there's so many what I call mass holes, the masses of asses who are miserable and want to try to make everybody else miserable, right? Trying to get through this life being positive while so many are trying to drag us down.
Yeah, I hear you completely, and I think much as I love technology, and I think humankind technologically we've advanced hugely, but I think we've gone backward in a societal way. Generations. If you look back at the Aztecs and all the older generations, they had it much better because they were very communal, they're very sociable, they were very natural to live, they were very spiritual.
Despite all that human sacrifice stuff, yeah.
Wasn't so keen on that stuff, but they had some good things, didn't they? And they learned from the land. Nature would always cure things. They would always sort things out. There was no obesity, probably no depression. they just got on with life and enjoyed a
Yeah,
simple life.
versus all the stuff we're trying to synthesize from nature rather than use the things, because there are so many people now, we can't use up all of everything from nature. But yeah, I mean, things like honey, the antibacterial properties in honey. If you can't afford the antibiotics, eat a lot of honey. It's got antibacterial and antiviral properties to it.
Yes.
And that's mold, right? The discovery of penicillin came from coughing on a petri dish, leaving it for a 2-week vacation, coming back and discovering the mold and determining the antibacterial properties of mold, hence penicillin. I'm allergic to penicillin, though. Thank God for other antibiotics. I can't take the penicillin stuff. But anyway, I got us off track again. Yours is a business show, and I was joking, like business and branding and entrepreneur before we hit record. Like I go to restaurants and most places have coffee makers by the name Bunn brand, Bunn. And I like to joke, who would want coffee filtered through anyone's buns, right? Bum. I can never pass the lame humor. But that's a marketing and branding nightmare, whereas here in the U.S., there's a jelly jam company named Schmuckers. Apparently, you don't have them there. We discovered while we were talking, but they embrace the suck, so to speak, right? Their marketing angle is with a name like Schmuckers, it has to be good. They have the brain capacity to know our name is really odd. How can we turn that brand? Because branding, as we were discussing, really is just propaganda. What can you say to show you and your company in the best light, right?
Well, indeed. And I think, I think the term schmuck is more of an American term from what I understand, but it has that kind of meaning, doesn't it? So you think it's got to be really good to get over that, the association with schmuck. It's got to be really good to kind of overcome that hill, isn't it? I would have thought. Is it very old brand then? Has it been around for a long, long time?
It's been around a long time. It's my preferred brand of grape jelly. So, what can you think of any oddball brands that had to overcome those sorts of things over there in the UK?
There probably are some, and I'm trying to think who they could be. Some unfortunate names. I think there's French Connection UK, and the acronym is very dangerous, French Connection UK.
Absent a vowel, it becomes vulgar. With the extra vowel, it can be for unlawful cardinal knowledge. Let's put it in terms of what was it? Van Halen had that album, right? Rather than spell the word, they used for unlawful cardinal knowledge. Well, you take the initials and you know what we're talking about there now. I've turned my own show. I'm going to have to put an explicit warning on this one.
But I think they've capitalized on it though, because they did T-shirts, so it's like FC UK, so it's kind of very borderline, but it's actually okay. So they've actually made a big thing out of it, rather than it being a dangerous thing. They've actually made a big thing of it. So
take the lemons and make lemonade from them somehow. Yes.
Yeah. But I'm trying to think of what other brands that have unfortunate names, because there are a few. None of them spring to mind right now. My brain is working on it. But I know there are some brands where you think, really? Why would you call yourself that? Because it's just very inappropriate for that kind of product or for that kind of service. But
like
conversation.
Mrs. Grass's soup. Well, you sure wouldn't want to make soup out of grass. They are an instant chicken noodle soup maker. They no longer exist. They were bought out by Mrs. Knoll or whatever. But Mrs. Grass's soup. Yeah, when I think grass, I think right hippies
Well,
smoking
yeah,
grass. You don't think soup,
cannabis
but it
soup.
was a great soup. We loved it growing up.
But was it all different flavors then, like chicken, vegetable, tomato?
They had a few varieties, but their primary brand was, chicken noodle. Yeah.
Brass's chicken noodle soup. Yeah, that's an interesting one, isn't it? But yeah, but I suppose some businesses before when they start out, they don't give the name a lot of thought. They just run with it, and then as they've evolved, they suddenly realise that, oh, hang on, perhaps that name is not such a good name.
But now we're kind of stuck with it.
Yeah. And for things like search engines, some of the names work well and other names work badly. So it's branding and naming. Yeah, it's an interesting one, isn't it? Because some of the companies that have been around today have been around for like hundreds of years. And people like Heinz, Heinz have been around for a long time talking about food. Very well-known brand. They've got a very distinctive label shape on the tin. And Kellogg's, Nestle.
I recorded a show with Stuart Kellogg, who is a descendant of one of the brothers that originally founded Kellogg's and that cereal. But, he doesn't get any money from it because he's not a direct descendant from it. But so we were talking about, Kellogg's and Post, and indeed those names that have been around for such a long time. And now we've got the MAHA movement, Make America Healthy Again movement, right? A lot of companies make stuff more healthy in the UK, or especially for like in India and other nations. They don't allow all these food dyes and crud. Like Trump the other day was calling out Coke for all the high fructose corn syrup. And now they've agreed to start bottling more with regular cane sugar. Now, there's no really caloric benefit to the change, but there are downsides to high fructose corn syrup as opposed to a natural cane sugar. And it does taste better, and they're bottling it in Mexico with the cane sugar. But Americans, to be cheaper, they're feeding us the high fructose corn syrup crap.
So Coca-Cola have a plant in Mexico that manufactures it with cane sugar, but the American plants still use the glucose
high fructose corn syrup. Because it's cheaper, right?
Yeah.
It's health. The cane sugar is a degree healthier because it's a more natural thing. Our body handles it better. High fructose corn syrup, calorically and whatnot. It's like I saw a program the other day, Olestra. Remember that? It tasted like fat, but it had no calories. So they started putting it in a lot of things to be fat-free. But it caused bowel problems. You're right. All these concoctions we come up with, synthetic substitutes, and like taking corn and turning it into corn syrup that it was never meant to be, that's not its natural state, all have side effects. We need to, return to more natural things.
Definitely. Yeah, I'm not a complete health guru, but I do try and avoid processed foods. It's just, to me, it's common sense. But people, like we were saying earlier, people will blindly eat what they're given. They won't necessarily research it. I think, oh, McDonald's, fine, I'll eat it. That's convenient. I'm hungry, I'll eat it.
Everything I like McDonald's once in a while, but you can't eat it every day. It's dangerous. It's bad.
Yeah, once in a while, same here. I know they taste okay, but again, going back, that's when back in the day, thousands of years ago, there was no obesity, diet was healthy, people were probably a lot healthier. All of the modern diseases are a cause of modern society, aren't they? Fast food, no exercise, convenience.
Yeah, lazy. A lot of it. Right. We've improved so many ways. We live longer because our diet is more enriching to some degree, but yet, yes, so many bad side effects. We have so many health issues. And we're living longer because now, back in the 1800s, again, it's on the History Channel. I don't know if you get it. Henry Winkler's Dangerous History or whatever. Yeah, the other day, the show I saw about the stuff they were putting, radium in things, right?
Right.
The stuff that we find in chemical cleaners now, they were putting in foods in the late 1800s to make it look better, because trains and planes meant we could get food from the south to the north in a reasonable amount of time, but it still wasn't fresh as if grown locally. It was aged, it was decaying. So they put artificial stuff that was bad for us in it to make it look better, so we still eat it, but it was causing all kinds of stomach problems. But then, as we said, the advent of penicillin, miracle drug, aspirin, miracle drug, all kinds of miracle drugs of today, we're using to offset all the bad stuff we're taking in. So in the balance, we're living longer.
It's ridiculous, isn't it? We're creating drugs to cure the problems that we've caused for ourselves in the first place. It's madness that we could prevent by eating the wrong stuff and, avoid eating the wrong stuff and eating the right stuff. Absolute madness. But it's interesting you talk about penicillin, because I've just finished reading a book, very interesting book called The Entangled Life by Merlin Sheldrake. And it's all about fungus and mushrooms, and it is so fascinating. And this guy's
the values in that stuff,
cancer in China, because China are very good with sort of like homeopathic medicine and so forth, and Japan. And he said how specific mushrooms are used for treating uterus cancer very successfully. And there are so many natural things that are now making their way into science. If you look at like aloe vera, that's now introduced. We know that it's good for your skin, it's good to swallow. Garlic is good for your blood. All that stuff that nature produces, science is gradually acknowledging and introducing and building into daily products.
Yeah, I mentioned honey for the antibacterial and antiviral properties, 100% natural stuff. I didn't choose this hairdo for those viewing on video, the bald head. I had cancer in 2010, APL leukemia, blood cancer, right? What cured me? I can't think of it. It was something that was originally an acne medicine derived from vitamin K. Again, something natural, vitamin K. But it was created as an acne cream, but then, of course, people abused it. They overused it, used it more than directed, right? So, of course, a bunch of lawsuits claiming it caused irritable bowel syndrome. Well, if you didn't misuse it, it wouldn't have caused that, but they stopped making it for that. And the Chinese discovered that it cured APL leukemia. But the drug cost $2,000 a bottle now, because it's only manufactured in one place on the planet, because of all the places that stopped making it because of all the lawsuits. And it's the other thing too, there's these lawyers, these ambulance chasers drive me crazy on TV. I don't know if they're as bad over there, but they're literally people advertising, women, did you have permanent hair loss from your chemotherapy? Well, you know your hair's going to come out during chemo, and if it lands up being permanent, whereas I shave mine, some of it could grow back, but would you rather have died from cancer? I mean, please, can we have a sense of proportion? You have a drug that causes hair, wear a wig, dummy. If you're that worried about your hair, right, don't sue to put that manufacturer out of business. Then other people are now dying from that cancer because they can't get the drug. Your whining caused some hair loss. Too bad. Get a sense of perspective.
Yeah, absolutely. I didn't realize that. But you're looking amazing. I'm so sorry to hear, but you've
Thank
recovered
you.
very
Yeah.
well.
I'm on disability too since 2004. Former IT guy, anxiety, stress, lack of sleep, working all day and then getting calls all through the middle of the night, not getting sufficient sleep. Eventually, the body says, "You're not going to slow down. Guess what? We're going to force you to slow down." Right. So I suffer from like 10 different myriad of health issues. So I'm on disability, can't work, which is one reason why I try to write books as a hobby, try to supplement my disability. I'd rather be working with my 6-figure salary still in IT rather than barely keeping a roof over my head on my disability budget, right?
Sorry to
yeah, thank you for the comment. Yeah, I turned 63 this year. It's 63 in August. Luckily, I don't look as old as I am, although look at all that gray in the goatee.
the hairstyle suits you. You've got the good shape. Your face is the right shape. It suits you well. It looks
right,
good.
And it's a good it's not the 1980s. People don't automatically assume, oh, bald head, he's a Nazi skinhead, right?
Exactly. No, it's a good look. I think it's a good look. I've thought about it. I don't know if it would suit me, but some guys, and I think you're one, the shape of their face looks really good. It's like Stanley Tucci. He looks really good. There's some guys, they look like that.
Stanley Tucci, I like him. Yes, yeah, exactly. I know what you mean. Exactly. Denzel, for a black man, right, bald and goatee too. I think he's slightly older than I am, and he looks much younger than even I do. I mean, the guy, it's like, I want to know what he's eating. It's like he doesn't age.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of celebrities have the luxury of like personal trainers, personal chef. They have all the good nutrition, organic food, the best of everything. So I think they've got a few tricks that help them look younger than they actually are.
True. Having millions of dollars, it doesn't solve all your problems, but it sure as heck can help.
It takes away the stress. Money makes most problems go away. Let's face it. No worry about paying the bills. No worry about paying the mortgage. No worry about no worries about paying for anything because you've got plenty of it, and you can have the best of everything for your diet, for your health, exercise. Yeah, it must be pretty good. I think I'd like to find out for myself.
Oh, me too. I didn't get into writing books to be the next J.K. Rowling millionaire. Now, I certainly would like more money from selling more books, but to become a millionaire would be great if it could happen. But that's not what I'm in it for. And I'm sure the Paul Jordan Business Breakthrough podcast is not probably raking in millions either.
Not yet. I'm getting there. I'm interested to hear more about your books, though, because I'm in the process of writing a book at the moment.
You need my How to Write a Book and Get It Published Hits, Tips, and Techniques from Amazon. There's a lot of great tips and tricks and techniques. Like, you've got a podcast. I'll give you the one for free. You can write a book about business, and you just have some of your shows you've done transcribed, and you've got ready-made chapters. Bam, there's a book. You can put it together in 30 days.
Perfect. And then someone can get it transcribed from audio into text, and
you can do that through AI for free these days. Like, I use converter.app, my show's Constitutionalist Politics podcast. I usually provide a transcript at Buzzsprout. They allow you to put on a transcript. They now automate a transcript, but I don't like it. I delete theirs, put my own. I use converter.app, free app. They're all equally bad. They're not perfect, right? AI's got a long way to go. It gets words wrong, especially if you're talking names. It gets them wrong. But the transcription for free is fantastic so that people can have something to read along with if they want. And same thing for a book. You transcribe it, you copy it over into Microsoft Word, run spell check, correct things. And of course, vocal speech is different usually than written speech, especially in England when you're used to the uppity Oxford type stuff, right? Like I joke, my name is Joseph M. Leonard. It looks French. It's not Leonard. It's Leonard without an O. It's Polish something, Leonardowski or something at some point. I've not looked that far enough back in the woodpile to find it, but Joseph M. Leonard, because there is a Joseph Leonard out of South Carolina, another state, who is also a Christian author. So I have to distinguish, between the two of us. I say he is not me, I am not him, and neither of us will be confused for Shakespeare.
Very good. Now, it's interesting because you mentioned South Carolina there. I had the pleasure of working there many years ago. It was actually during the time of Katrina, because there's a place called Greenville.
Yes.
I was working in Greenville. I was there for about 2 weeks. It was beautiful, but Hurricane Katrina was kicking off, and everyone was just up the coast in Mississippi. Wonderful place. Loved it. Really enjoyed the work there. Good people. But that was 2006, 2007, round about then. Probably 2006, I think. Great place. But yeah, and also Greenville features in there's one of the American crime authors. I'm trying to think of his name. Oh my goodness, there's quite a few, aren't there? Crime authors in America, very famous ones. He did the what was it? I can't remember. It'll come to me. Let me think a bit more, and the name will come to me. But if I can't think of it now, I'll send you the message after. But he's written loads of books. Some of the books have been made into films in America, big films with Matthew McConaughey and so forth. But anyway, this particular book, it was quite funny because I was looking for a secondhand book to read when I was out there because I had a lot of time in the evenings to myself. And I just picked up this book in a bookshop, and as I started to read it, I couldn't believe it. I thought, wow, it's actually referencing Greenville, where I'm staying. And it was just such a strange coincidence. It was meant to be, Very good.
Yeah, that's kind of neat. Kind of me being from the Detroit area, like my Terror Strikes Coming Soon to a City Near You book is about Martin, a journalist who's writing a book about terrorism. So it's kind of a book in a book kind of a thing, storytelling. Tried and true storytelling mechanism, of course, been done for hundreds of years and whatnot. So, and he's from the Detroit area. So, yeah, I try to, it's like, I can't think. Tyler Perry was in a movie about a detective or something, and I forget the detective's names, but that writer also writes about Michigan and houses, couches his in Michigan. And I wish, if you look up Tyler Perry movies, there's one where he's a detective or a spy.
Tyler Perry. I'll look him.
Yeah, we're both having mental blocks here, right? It's part of the writer block process. I go into it in how to write a book and get it published, hints, tips, and techniques. Writer's block and podcaster block is always going to be a thing. Things never come to us when we want them to.
Well, I think, because the brain, the subconscious works at its own pace, doesn't it? And we're having a conversation here. There's a lot going on. We're thinking about what we're talking about. I'm listening to what you're saying. So there's probably not a lot of bandwidth in my brain to kind of go away and think about that author's name whilst I'm doing all that at the same time,
Exactly.
So Detroit, that's a great, I always associate Detroit as being a huge car manufacturing base. Is that still the case with America?
Well, Ford is in Dearborn, a suburb of Detroit, and GM is still located in Detroit. Chrysler, of course, has gone through so many mergers. It's not really an American company anymore, but they do have a U.S. headquarters in Auburn Hills, a northern suburb of Detroit. So, yeah, Detroit is still the primary motor city manufacturer of the United States, but it's gotten desegregated quite a bit. Honda and Hyundai and Toyota and Mitsubishi all now have major presences here, mainly in our southern states. So car manufacturing is way spread out from what it used to be. But yeah, we're still known as the Motor City. And unfortunately, parts of Detroit, downtown is great if you can afford to be there. It's expensive, right? But parts of Detroit look like Hiroshima after Fat Boy was dropped on it still.
Really?
All the neighborhoods that are gutted and practically erased, we're not putting the money into reclaiming what they had. A lot of auto plants that shut down and moved, and the neighborhoods around them then dried up because all the jobs went away. So Detroit, like a lot of large cities, like probably London even, right? There's some great parts of London, and there's probably a lot of SHIT parts, right?
No,
you don't want to be going, and you'd still be afraid of Jack running into Jack the Ripper's ghost, right?
Yeah, there are places like that. I remember, but interestingly, I remember going back to Greenville. I remember I went out for a really long walk one day, and I remember seeing these beautiful hotel buildings, beautiful office buildings, really, really beautiful churches, very modern, very glitzy churches. And then you walk around a corner down like a little lane, and there'd be these guys living in shacks, really just within a few hundred yards. I just couldn't believe it, really poor, one extreme to the other in such a short distance. I was really quite shocked by that.
Well, it's like London, even Tokyo, because you mentioned Japan before. I would imagine every nation state has their urban center that has that dichotomy of so many with wealth and so many with nothing.
Yeah, it's a real shame. I mean, the human race, what have we done? That should not be happening. We're sending people to the moon, we're making these smartphones, but that should not be happening. That should not be happening.
Well, again, it goes back to this being a fallen world. It's not the world God would want it to be.
No, definitely not.
It's the shambles we humans have screwed it up to be.
It's very sad, isn't it? When are we going to sort out, when is mankind going to, what will it take for mankind to be harmonious and sort itself out? I don't know.
Yeah. Well, and then there's the other part. The Bible rightly states, I'm on disability, right? I, as a Christian, though, we are to want to be our brother's keeper, right? Take care of widows and orphans. But the Bible makes the distinction, and I agree wholeheartedly. There's a difference between those who are unwilling to bother to try to do for themselves and those who are unable. I have no obligation to someone unwilling and just demands things from me. They're alive, so I have to give them things. No. The Bible does not say God helps those who helps themselves. It doesn't specifically say that, but it is implied in a lot of the scriptures. You shall be known by your fruits. You must sow to reap. You have to act on both your own and others' benefits in order to benefit. You can't just expect today's entitlement mentality. I'm here, you owe me, give me, give. I don't have to earn it, just give. And I don't want it tomorrow, I want it yesterday.
I think that's a lot. Yeah, I hear what you say, because, and I see that a lot in the younger generation, but I'm sure the older generation would have said that about us maybe, but it's like instant gratitude, isn't it? People are looking for instant gratitude.
Today's Twitter attention span, I call it, too, right?
Yeah.
Never before in the course of human history have people had access to facts and reality. Conversely, never, and I quote this in my CTP2 book, quotations chapter, mainly from famous quotes from famous people, though there's a few Joe originals in there, I say, right? Conversely, never before in the course of human history have people had access to delusional nonsense to feed their emotional hysteric bubble.
Very true. I mean, and there's so many things that we can lay the blame on, aren't there? Access to the internet, access to information, communication. Yeah,
But it
things
goes back to the ignorance versus stupidity. We are all ignorant of things. You choose to be stupid.
And not go and find out for yourself. I know.
Exactly.
Listen, sorry, after you, I'm going to have to go shortly because I think I've got some food that's been ready. I've got my food is going to be ready very soon.
Yeah, I like to try to keep my shows for 30 minutes too, and we've blown past that already. So I wanted to wrap it up too. I wish we'd have gotten more into Paul Jordan business breakthrough type stuff. I hope your audience won't be completely upset and disappointed that we clearly talk more about my stuff than your stuff in this co-branded show.
It's been really interesting. Maybe we can do it again sometime.
Sounds like fun to me. Sounds like something I'd love to do.
Brilliant. Well, Joseph, I'm going to say goodbye. Have a great rest of your day.
Yep. All right. Take care. God bless everyone.
See you soon.
Like and subscribe to Constitutionalist Politics Podcast and share episodes. We need your help. Thank you for having tuned into another Constitutionalist Podcast show. I really appreciate that you stopped by. Again, please like, share, subscribe. We need you to help spread the Constitutionalist movement. Thank you again. Take care. God bless. Love you all.